Hello and welcome back to Libib's BookTube channel. My name is Kaylin and welcome back to another monthly releases. Today I'm going to be talking about the top 10 YA releases that are mentioned in this Goodreads list that I will link in the description box down below where you can go check it out. I thought it'd be awesome to do it again, and today we're going to be talking about the July books that are being released. And I'm really excited about a couple, so let's just skeeter right on into the next clip. So for July 3rd, we have one release, and that is The Brink of Darkness by Jeff Giles, which is a fantasy series, and this is going to be the second book in the Edge of Everything series. On July 10th, we have a couple more books being released, and the first one being Bright We Burn by Kirsten White, which is a historical fiction and is the third book in the Conqueror's saga. Next up on July 24th, we have some pop-in releases, and the first one being Scream All Night by Derek Millman, which is horror, which I'm excited because your girl loves some horror thriller YA type stuff. This book is about our main character, Dario, which he decides not to go back to the studio company that he's a part of. The studio served for a lot of props and a lot of scenes in this cult movie that is being presented. But it's been 3 years since he has ever stepped foot back into the place after getting legally emancipated from his father, and he is the director behind this studio and movie that has been shooting. So I wonder what's gonna happen. Someone's gonna try to kill him or kill his father, or if the father's evil. I just can't wait for this horror novel. Next up is another horror that I'm really excited about, which I didn't realize it was like classified as horror until like I looked it up on like the Goodreads page and was like analyzing every bit of it. And that is Contagion by Erin Bowman. This is the first book in a duology, and the cover is so beautiful, so stunning. All her books have amazing, beautiful covers, and she is probably the most luckiest woman in the entire world, and I'm very jealous of all the covers she gets on all her books. So this sci-fi horror has to deal with space, and after receiving an SOS from a work detail on a distant planet, a skeleton crew is released to do a search and rescue mission. But when the crew arrives, they find an abandoned site littered with like nasty rotten food, dead bodies, everything else that's basically rotten and dead that you can imagine, and also discarded weapons. So something's on that planet, and I guess our crew is going to find out what that's all about, and I cannot wait for a sci-fi horror novel. The excitement is through the roof. And lastly, we have Endless Water, Starless Sky by Rosamund Hodge, which is the second book in the Great Smoke, Cold Fire series. July 31st, we have Sea Witch by Sarah Henning, which is a fantasy retelling. So it starts off as everyone knows what happens in the end. A mermaid, a prince, a true love kiss. But before that, there were 3 friends, one feared, one royal, and one already dead. Next up, we have Heart of Thorns by Brie Barton, which is the first book in the Heart of Thorns series. Our main character is 17 years old, and she has pledged her life to hunting these women who can manipulate flesh, blood, bone, and blood. And these are not women. These are basically straight up demons, which also have killed her mother, so it's kind of like revenge. But all of a sudden, her father kind of takes that away from her and announces like, hey, you're gonna be married to this prince, so drop your knives, put on some gowns, and here we go. But after the wedding goes disastrously wrong, she discovers she has this dark, forbidden magic. The very magic she is sworn to destroy, so dun 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 dun. Next up, we have Grace and Fury by Tracy Banghart. This is a fantasy that is these 2 sisters that live in a world where women have 0 rights whatsoever. These 2 sisters face 2 very different fates. One is in a prison and one is in a palace. And last but not least, we have The Darkest Legacy by Alexandra Bracken, which is the Darkest Minds #4, and I am so pumped. I have not finished the Darkest Minds trilogy, which is sad, but I am so excited for this book because I've also read The Darkest Minds and The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding. I loved both of those books by her, so this next month I'm definitely gonna have to sit down and read and get through the Darkest Minds series and try not to cry and be ready for this like book that takes place in the future from Zoo's point. It's always nice to get like a book of what happened after the fact of all this other stuff has happened, or prequels. I love prequels because it's like, oh, we get to see how this, what started before this and how like led up to this main trilogy or series or whatever. It's just a personal preference for me that I'm just like, we saw this, cool, but what happens next? Where do we go from here? And so I have high hopes and expectations from Alexandra Bracken on this one. Anyways, that is going to be it for July YA releases for the month. Anyways, let me know in the comment section down below, what are you most anticipating for the new YA releases in the month of July? Let me know in the comment section down below. And anyways, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll be back next week for a new bookish video.